Some people work so hard to dismiss this tsunami of black violence, black on white crime, black on old, black on young, black on gay, black on straight, black on Amish, black on Eskimo, you know the list. They work so hard to do it. It takes so many mental, gymnastics. The people at Fox News did it to me a week or so ago, and Kat Timpf looked at all this. We did a video of 40 episodes of black mob violence, not just black on white crime, but black mob violence. You remember things like that big 60 black people rampaging through the BART station in Oakland, beating up a bunch of people, stuff like that. It's over to 40 of them in 1 month. And Kat said that was anecdotal. Well, if you applied that same kind of reasoning to things in everyday life, it would get kind of silly kind of quick, right? Like, for example, right now, I'm standing on a little bridge, and it rained last night. We know it rained because, first of all, I heard the rain patter last night, but we look at the dirt's all muddy. We look at the grass, there's rain, every single blade of grass here is wet. We look at the little creek, the creek's rising. You go to where I eat breakfast, Ralph's. Everybody at Ralph's is talking about how much it rained last night. All this is anecdotal evidence until we get a weatherman down here to say, yes, our readings at the airport show this and this and this and this. Well, we don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows, do we? So there's so much, I don't even want to call it anecdotal evidence, but every day we experience so much black on white hostility. To a lot of people, it's just become normal. So I had a friend in from out of town, and we went to Philadelphia the other day. He wanted to see Philadelphia. I said, okay, we'll go up and take one of those bus rides. So we hopped on one of those double deckers. A black woman gets on, starts telling us, as soon as we get off, the very first thing she says is, well, that building was designed by the first black architect here. That was, that club was started by the first black woman to graduate from this school. And we passed by the first black congregation in Philadelphia at the AME church. You know what? She was interspersing it with lots of stuff about Ben Franklin and Betsy Ross. So, it was what it was. I didn't really care. Until she got to the statue of Frank Rizzo down there outside of Philadelphia City Hall. Frank Rizzo was like the last working class anti-crime mayor of Philly, or probably of any big city in this country. Used to be the police chief. He was a burly guy. People really liked him. They put a statue of him up out there. We passed the statue, and Frank was not very popular with what shall we call the criminal classes. Passed by, we were at a light, so we stopped right in front of the statue of Frank. This woman went on for like 2 minutes about how her mother said if she couldn't say anything nice about somebody, never say anything at all. And she went on in that vein about Rizzo for like 2 minutes, then off we went. You ever see one of these things on TV where a presenter will say something really, really bad about Reagan or Bush or Trump, and you wonder why people in the audience just don't get up and yell an obscenity and walk out? Well, I hate to say this, but I was in that position on the bus, and I decided I'm just going to sit here and just bear it, okay? I'm not going to jump up and tell that woman to go F herself. Anyway, so that feeling of patience and good kind-hearted lasts about 5 minutes till we got to the statue of Sylvester Stallone at the Philadelphia Art Museum. Same drill. It's like she couldn't say anything nice about Sylvester Stallone or the Rocky movies or anything. Just she didn't want any part of it. So we actually got off to get our picture taken at the Rocky statue. Okay, so we flash forward about an hour later. We're downtown Philly at the Independence Hall Visitor Center. The very first thing outside the center you see are these panels installed by the National Park Service. So this is all supposed to be about 4th of July. Gentlemen, if we don't hang together, surely we will hang separately. The revolutionaries who created this country risked their lives and their fortunes and their fame and the whole deal. But this whole display, and it's been there for a couple of years, it's all about slavery. It's all about how the slaves came here and about how the people who founded this country were all a bunch of big bad slave owners. Okay, I kind of blew that off saying, all right, maybe this is just like a coincidence Then we go into the hall, where I think it's called the Independence Hall Visitor Center. There's a couple of movies in there. And we saw a black teacher with about 30 black students. And he was asking them all these questions. They already knew the answer to, by the way, because he was saying things like, and I got a picture of him, but I didn't get the video. He would say things like, and Ben Franklin, did he believe in freedom? And all the black kids went, no. Then he started saying how Ben Franklin was a slave owner and a bad person. And they were going around Independence Mall, stopping at each exhibit, giving the exact opposite view of what the display said. This founding father was a bigot. This founding father was a slave owner. This founding father hated black people. And the kids already knew it before they walked in. And so when we talk about black violence wildly out of proportion on this channel, we probably don't spend enough time talking about black on white hostility as well, and where it comes from. I mean, kids are learning it in school. They learn it, from when their teachers reading books like Courageous Conversation, telling them that, the black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything. My favorite excerpt from Courageous Conversation came when Glenn Singleton, who's made a fortune, by the way, explaining to white teachers why they are to blame for black dysfunction. He recounts how a parent came up to him in a very shy and humble way and said, Dr. Singleton, I'm not sure of this, but I think I noticed some of the black kids in my class, well, they can be a little, how white liberals are when they know they're on a minefield, and they're very, very careful about saying anything because they don't want to blow their own legs off. So she was doing one of those questions, the upshot of which was, why are black people so much more violent in school? And Glenn Singleton said, no, that's the wrong question. You should be asking the question is, why have white people been so violent to black people for 400 years? This guy's not an outlier. This guy puts on clinics for white teachers and black teachers how to teach black students in hundreds and hundreds of school districts in dozens of states, including the entire state of California, entire state of Wisconsin, entire state of Massachusetts. Even school board members don't know what this guy is up to. So the amount of black on white hostility is really saturated into everything that we say and do. And how can there be, when we take a look at this violence, this enormous amount of violence, so wildly out of proportion, I mean, how could you can either say, A, it's not happening, or B, white people do it too, or C, white people deserve it, or all of the above. Those are the only three excuses. But you really have to look at it and say, man, this violence doesn't just start at 100 miles an hour. It starts at 0 miles an hour. It starts when somebody's a kid and they learn this enormous amount of racial hostility in churches, schools, music. They learn it at home. They learn it at downtown Philadelphia, in the Independence Mall, where the teachers are telling them that white people are evil. They've been doing nothing but holding black people down. They learned at commencement speeches. When Michelle Obama goes to Tuskegee, Alabama, and tells all the graduates that the only thing they have in front of them is one life full of relentless racism and relentless opposition to what they want to do. And it's pretty much the quote from The Simpsons when they talk about don't ask, don't tell. But even so, even with all this, I mean, not don't ask, don't tell, it's like, can't win, don't try, says Homer. And so even for all that, there's still a lot of people who just they just look at all this stuff that's become normal now. And so when they see this black on white crime and violence, and they just want to dismiss it in a million different ways, like Kat Timpf did. Oh, it's anecdotal, Colin. Okay, so here's the anecdotal. We're going to shove so much more anecdotal in this video, you're probably going to get sick of it. But you need to see this. You need to show this to your friends, because it's not anecdotal. Because if you have 1,000 coincidences happen in a row, guess what? They stop being coincidences about 998 events before. The generals tell us this. One thing happening is an accident. The second time it happens, it's a coincidence. The third time something bad happens, that's an act of war. So there's something really bad happening out there. So many people are just They're just scared to death to acknowledge, talk about. That's what we do on this channel, without racism, without rancor, without racism, without rancor, without apologies. I forget my own taglines now. That's how bad I'm getting. Let's look at these things. Let's run through a whole bunch of them, okay? I'll see you on the other side.
Like thousands of others, Chad Voiles had a blast at the Beale Street Music Festival.
We saw Widespread Panic. They were great. We saw Sum 41, which is actually really surprising. They were really good, and I wasn't expecting it.
Event staffers say it was one of its most successful weekends yet.
People just couldn't stay away. It was irresistible.
Chad says the streets were packed when he and his girlfriend were walking back to the car on South Main early Saturday morning.
I know we were in a great mood. You know, it was a good time.
But that quickly came to an end.
It hit one time here, like one time here.
He says he turned around and 10 people were surrounding them, getting in their face and yelling at them.
I kind of knew what was going on at that point. So I'm like, all right, I got to prepare for whatever's coming next now.
The suspect snatched his girlfriend's backpack and ran off. It was one of 3 robberies reported around South Main last week. Beale Street Music Festival staff says there were no serious incidents reported with the event as sheriff's deputies, Memphis police, and private security monitored.
It all worked exactly as planned.
Local college students are the victims in the latest armed robberies in North Philadelphia. 2 men are wanted for stealing valuables from 3 Temple students.
And police say all the robberies happened within an hour. Fox 29's Joyce Evans joins us live in the studio. Joyce.
Well, guys, less than an hour. They're wrapping up finals, so some students may be sleep deprived, a little distracted, but don't let your guard down. An alert went out to all university students this morning about it. Police are stepping up patrols, and they hope, with your help and surveillance video from the area near 18th and Fontaine, they'll get these strong armed robbers.
No, I'm not surprised at all. I live 2 houses down right there, and that kind of stuff happens all the time on this street.
But an alert goes out when 3 Temple students are confronted within 45 minutes by 2 men, one with a gun, bent on robbing them.
Ooh.
Damn, her face is fucked up. Oh, man.
Tonight, she could have been your mother or grandmother pulling into her garage. And notice right here, someone was stalking her every move, waiting to strike. The video has angered a lot of people. And tonight, we now know the suspects are in custody. Eyewitness News reporter Chauncey Glover is live with the story behind the video.
Good evening to you, Eric. Police say all the suspects wanted was the woman's car. They found that car late this evening here in this neighborhood about 3 miles away from the attack. Tonight, we spoke with Miss Dang. She's a Vietnamese widow, and we spoke with her with help from a translator.
76-year-old Kim Dang is a female monk. She prays every evening for 2 hours. Today's prayer, more gracious than ever.
She felt very lucky that she came out of it with bruises and scrapes, but she's alive.
Watch this surveillance video as a defenseless Dang gets out of her car. She's walking from the garage to the back door, oblivious to what's about to happen, when suddenly
She just felt something struck her from above, as if the ceiling fell on top of her.
a man comes from behind, striking Dang in the head. She takes a brutal fall and blacks out. The bad guy takes her car.
She was in shock and a lot of pain. She saw that she was bleeding.
While we were talking to Dang this evening, family members got a call from detectives. Police found her Honda. Her son later brought the car back home. Family members also say police told them 2 suspects had been caught. Investigators believe Dang was a part of a crime spree and the robbers needed a getaway car. Tonight, Dang is bandaged up and bruised all over, but letting nothing get in the way of lighting her incense and kneeling to pray.
She will continue to just do good and pray for peace and humanity.
Police are looking for this man. They say he shot a Good Samaritan who gave him a ride from a grocery store. Channel 2's Audrey Washington talked with the victim's friend who also spoke with the suspect before the shooting.
Yeah, and that friend tells me he had a bad feeling about the suspect, but before he could do anything, that suspect had already gotten into that victim's car.
I'm leery of people.
This Kroger security guard said he just knew something wasn't right with this guy. The man Fulton County Police say shot a 66-year-old man during an attempted carjacking.
The people here saw him getting in the car.
The security guard did not want to give his name, but he says he's friends with the victim, Leslie Arnold. Fulton County Police tell me it was after 7 Monday morning when Arnold gave the suspect a ride as he left this Old National Highway Kroger.
From the time he got into the car until the time the police came up here, 5 of them wasn't 20 minutes.
We are also following breaking news from the city's south side. We are learning that several students were involved in a fight inside the cafeteria at Woodson Middle School.
Eyewitness News reporter Pooja Lodia joins us live from the school with why parents say they had a feeling something like this would happen. Pooja?
Eric, students as well as parents are very upset right now. Students were actually just let out of school a short time ago after the school was placed on lockdown for much of the afternoon. I want to show you this video. A student just gave this to me. You can see just how violent that fight was. You can see dozens of kids were involved. District officials aren't giving a lot of details at this point, but they are saying that the fight was handled administratively and that the students involved have been disciplined. But we do know that Houston Police's gang unit responded.
20 kids came and jumped you?
Not just me. It was like it was 6 of us, and it was against 20 of them.
And show me your lip. What happened?
They had stuffed me in my face.
We begin with a developing story, alarming video. Young men in the south suburbs showing off their guns, drugs, and huge piles of money. But the images they put on YouTube led police right to them. Good afternoon. I'm Erica Sargent. Rob is off today. Let's get right to CBS 2's Suzanne Lemonnier. She is live in Harvey with more on that disturbing video. Suzanne.
Erica, that video has led to 3 arrests. Police here say that charges are pending against all of those people, including the man that you're about to see. In this video given to us by Harvey Police and posted on YouTube, police say 24-year-old gang member Ivory King, also known as Monk, boasts about having a gun while on house arrest. King also brags about dog fighting, one of the dogs dying during a fight, and the pit bulls on the property.
Yes, all pits and blues, Brindle, little brown red nose, 2 boys, 1 girl, one of them died the other day.
Damn, R.I.P. what happened?
She's fighting.
This social media video led Harvey Police to execute a search warrant, leading to an early morning raid at the house.
If individuals want to use social media and conduct criminal activity, I would continue to encourage it. Thank you. You've absolutely helped us.
Police seized 2 9mm handguns with an extended clip, a .45 caliber handgun, several rounds of ammunition, and bags of marijuana. In the video, King also says this woman, who is a police dispatcher and a relative, has come to buy drugs.
She the police?
That's my cousin. That's my cousin.
She's not a Harvey employee, and we've checked with our local surrounding suburbs, and we have yet to be able to identify her.
A bag of what appears to be marijuana is shown in the video. So are multiple men armed with guns inside a van, and wads of cash. King also talks about how he runs this block in Harvey.
Not one group or one gang or anybody is going to take a block, and the Harvey Police Department not do anything to prevent it. So I guess he'll have a block now, and it starts with sale.
New at 11, CBS 46 digging for answers on another disturbing school situation. 4 Douglas County students, they are accused of sexually assaulting another student on an elementary school bus. The suspects were suspended. They could face trouble from police as well. The Night Team's Julian Johnson reports from Douglasville, where parents are livid after they say the school never notified them of any wrongdoing.
Oh, no, I didn't hear about that.
Monique Hill explained to CBS 46, administrators at L.W. Burnett Elementary in Douglasville never let parents know a student was taken advantage of sexually, all while riding on a county school bus.
I'm not on the bus with my kid, and they spend time on the bus to and from school sometimes, so that's very concerning.
I was just surprised from hearing it from you now. Like, they didn't let us know at all.
We questioned the school district for details about what exactly happened. They refused an on-camera interview, but district officials did confirm 4 students were involved in an inappropriate sexual incident with another student. This was as they rode home from school on the bus last week. The district did not say how old or what grades the students were in, but we did uncover all 4 children were immediately suspended from riding the bus once the issue was brought to school leaders. Some parents, though, think more adult supervision is a necessity on the buses to keep kids safe.
The bus driver obviously can control it, but only to a certain extent. So I feel like maybe if they added a teacher's aide to the bus, it might be a little bit easier to control the children.
New this morning, the NYPD's Hate Crime Task Force is investigating an attack on a man in Brooklyn.
CBS 2's Allie Bauman joins us live in Crown Heights with the details about the suspect. Allie?
Well, Cindy and Andrea, one wrong step left the man beaten and verbally abused. Police say it started when the victim bumped into the suspect who was walking here on a Saturday morning in April. The suspect then responded with hateful words and flying fists before taking off. Now, police have just released a sketch of the man they are looking for. He's described to be in his mid-20s, 6 feet tall with short black hair and a goatee. They say at around 10 a.m. April 29th, he was walking on Eastern Parkway right by Lincoln Terrace Park when a 28-year-old man bumped into him. Police say the suspect responded with anti-gay and anti-Asian slurs directed toward the victim, then punched and kicked him over and over before leaving the man wounded on the sidewalk.
So how many times can the people in denial, deceit, and delusion about the tsunami of black violence tell us that we are cherry picking, tell us this is a coincidence, tell us there's nothing happening here, this is all product of the fevered imagination of good old Colin? Well, that's up to us, right? It's up to us, because and the answer is, well, how many times are you going to spread these videos around? How many times are you going to share? Are you going to like? How many times are you going to contribute to this channel? I got a email the other day from a basketball coach out on the West Coast. He started commenting on videos saying, you know, that this black violence is out of control. He made 2 comments, 2 tweets on 2 videos, not on mine, on other people's. Next thing you know, the athletic director was calling him to his office saying, listen, your tweets are making it hard for you to work here because it's going to hurt your ability to coach, hurt your ability to recruit. So you better get your head on straight. Well, he got the message. So not all of us can do everything. Some of us can't tweet and retweet and like and share without putting our jobs at risk. Don't put your jobs at risk. There's a lot of ways you can help. You can support this channel on PayPal. A lot of people do. That's what's keeping us going right now. I mean, I get a piece of mail every month from Texas. I won't even say where. It's Texas. The greatest old dude in the world. He just writes me a note and slips a few 20s in there. That's how we're going. That's how I keep going through all this encouragement. And we're going to keep going. We're going to double down and double down and double down until this mountain of violence, this mountain of denial is chipped away and crumbles down and is brought down by our mountain of evidence, by our mountain of determination. Our determination to expose the greatest lie of this generation, our determination to do it without racism, without rancor, without apologies, even if it does make a few black kids angry. Just go with your camera.